Chase Thomas podcast. My nephew needs me to record. See, I already hate it. I hate it.
All right, hello, and we're back to another episode of the Chase Thomas podcast from still the aforementioned Chase Thomas, coming to you live from Knoxville, Tennessee, Everything School HQ. Joining me from SaturdayDownSouth.com, it's Ethan Stone. Ethan, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. My football teams were perfect this week, so I can't really ask for anything more.
Yeah, you got Adam Gase reincarnated over there in Chicago, so all things are great. What could go wrong for the Chicago Bears? You beat the guy with the, what's the walk they talk about with Ashton G&T, where the stand-up situation?
Sabrina Carpenter.
The what?
I haven't heard this.
Michael Myers. That's what it is. The Michael Myers stance, the Halloween. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
I haven't heard this, but I want Ashton Genty to be a Bear, and it's obvious that Ben Johnson wanted it as well. It's just obvious that he would be perfect for this offense. That's the one thing I'm worried about is running back. DeAndre Swift is I don't think he's it. I would love Ashton Genty. I just kept thinking that the entire game. I was like, man, I cannot believe we let this guy get past.
Winning on a block field goal seems fun.
Yeah. It was electric. Amazing feeling. That usually happens to us. So.
Didn't you all beat the Packers last year on a block field goal?
We on a walk-off field goal. Cairo hit one.
Walk-off field goal. Yeah. Okay. I certainly have no room to talk. But I feel like running back should not be the thing you're most worried about with the Chicago Bears.
I mean, like from a talent standpoint, there's talent everywhere. It's just there are a million more problems outside. Definitely, Ryan's right. Running back is not our biggest problem, but as far as talent's concerned, we got talent at receiver, we got all along the offensive line, tight end, even safeties. Once the corners get healthy, once Johnson's back, I'm feeling pretty good. It's just. I don't think we have a running back. we don't have a run game that's significant enough to go anywhere. But we'll see.
There you go. Well, that voice you hear, he's a fan of a team that's 0-4. His quarterback saying expletives in post-game pressers. We have the head coach getting mad at local media and refusing to say certain things. And as of this recording, still not fired, correct? Callahan still employed as the head football coach of the Tennessee Titans. Ryan Schumpert, a Rocky Top Insider.
Yeah, I mean, you would surely think the Titans wouldn't fire him on Tuesday of a game week, but you can't really rule anything out. Yeah, I mean, I will say I like Cam Ward calling the team. I guess it's a family-friendly program, so I won't say it, but I like that. You just can't care about Titans at all at this point. The power rankings of anyone from watching the video of bad things that happened this weekend, it's 1A, the U.S. team at the Ryder Cup, 1B, just real close behind it, Cade Horton out till the NLCS, which Cubs will not be making the NLCS. And then way down here under the screen, the Titans falling to 0-4. I mean, that is just a hopeless team and a hopeless franchise. Much worse stuff going on at Bethpage Black and on the diamond for the Cubs with Cade Horton.
Ooh. Well, MLB postseason, anything can happen. Just getting it. You don't know. That's the best part of getting in. You just don't know.
Yeah, that's true. I'd feel a lot better if we had the Rookie of the Year pitching and not trotting out Matthew Boyd for game one against a loaded Padres lineup. But anything can happen.
Anything can happen. That's baseball. Ryan Schumpert and Ethan Stone. Speaking of things that happened over the weekend, Tennessee beat Mississippi State on the road. It was unpleasant throughout. We were all very sick watching this football game. I said all week that I'm going to be sick watching this game. 41-34 is the final. 2 overtimes for Tennessee's first 2 SEC games. I feel like Jim Halpert, I just want it to stop. That is hopefully not a streak that continues on against Arkansas, especially here in 2 weeks, because that would just be a lot. At least we get a week off here this week with the bye, and the Falcons are off. It's a whole weekend bye for me. I have my nerves will be totally rehabilitated by next weekend, not the second one. But yeah, so when you look at Tennessee stealing the win here, the biggest thing we learned about Tennessee's win versus Mississippi State for you, Ryan Schumpert, was what?
Yeah, I think there's a number of ways you can go with this. When I'm thinking about what, when you pose this, I usually think, what about the team? What about my opinion changed about the team? I was surprised that Tennessee wasn't able to run the football better. I was surprised to a lesser extent the run defense looked as bad as it did. But, neither of those things necessarily made me not necessarily other things made me change my tune a lot about the team. I think I would almost say more. I think they have a special teams problem at this point. The punt returning stuff. You've muffed 3 punts in 5 games. That simply cannot happen. You give up a fake punt. Max Gilbert, he missed 1 kick. It wasn't like he was awful in the game, but he doesn't quite look like the guy he did for most of last season. He did have that 1 bad stretch last season. So I almost worry about that a little bit more. But I think as a whole, I say all those things, and all those things are a little bit on the negative side. It just, to me, the SEC feels like the NFL in that it's a week-to-week league, and just about anybody can beat just about everybody, especially if the less talented team is at home. So while Tennessee didn't play great, and some of the road questions for Josh Heupel, I think, persist. They certainly didn't do anything to put them to bed. You found a way to win, and that's the most important thing, because this would be a drastically different podcast and a drastically different 2 weeks getting ready for Arkansas if Tennessee already had 2 losses.
Oh, 100%. And that's the whole thing is, Ethan, it's survive and advance. I do think the running game is still, it's odd how out of sorts it still feels. Like Sean Bishop, obviously a great run. Carnes legend. Shout out to the Carnes alum on this very program as well, and Ethan Stone. But it just doesn't feel like they know what to do there. And I don't mean that in like, oh, it's a panic situation, but I don't think they have any idea how to rotate right now. I don't think Darrell Sims knows the best way to the right amount of carries for Star Thomas versus Deshaun Bishop. I don't think he 100% knows who he can trust full time in pass pro, especially just catching balls out in space when you're trying to throw to some of these running backs in the flat, like who's going to come out with the ball, who's not. I don't know. I think they're all talented, and I was a big Peyton Lewis guy coming in, but I mean, he had a bad missed block in pass protection on Saturday, and that was the end of that. So I don't know. I do think Ryan's right in terms of like, what do I think has more staying power that we learned is I think you get David Hobbs back in 2 weeks. They're getting healthier and healthier on the defensive line. I think they're going to be okay against teams running the football. I don't think they're just out of sorts running the ball, and I just don't think they figure it out. Maybe they figure it out going into Arkansas, but I don't know, Ethan. It does feel just weird.
It definitely feels weird. I wouldn't say it's like my top concern or anything like that. I think there's probably something to be said about Bishop and Starr being the 2 best, and I would agree with you that I don't think that they've quite figured that out yet. I mean, look, I love Deshaun Bishop. I mean, obviously, I went to Carnes. I'm going to be that dude's biggest fan. I think Star Thomas is the best running back Tennessee has right now. And I think he should be getting considerably more carries. I think he should be getting just considerably more action out of the backfield, especially kind of with how Kitselman has struggled catching the ball. And we really have 3 wide receivers that have done the vast majority of everything as far as catching the ball and receiving is concerned. So I think it'd be nice to get Thomas more involved there. I think he should probably be getting the bulk of carries. Do I know if that'll fix everything? Probably not. I would agree with you, Chase. I just think it's been a little awkward, but I'm not sure I quite have the concern level that you do, if that makes sense.
Can I give you some stats here, Ryan, on this? Like where we're at
through 2 conference
games?
Go ahead.
So it's one of those things where I just want to go back and look. And so 2025 right now, Tennessee in SEC play, they're 9th in rushing yards per game against SEC competition. They're 9th. In this same stat in 24, they were number 1 in the conference. They were number 6 in 2023. They were number 3 in 2022, and they were number 2 in 2021. To this point, this has been the worst rushing attack in the Heupel era. So it's one of those things where it feels discombobulated, and it does feel the clankiest to me. Like it just feels off. It feels like they're stuck in neutral a lot of the time.
Yes. One, I think there's some of it's the element of the Georgia. You played Georgia early, but I don't think it's all that. And I think something we're all discounting. And I was thinking about this earlier today. The offense is different. We've said for years they're always run well because of the wide splits. Well, they're not playing with wide splits anymore. So you're taking away that advantage that was part of the reason why they were so good running the football. I think it's only natural that they take a step back running the ball. So I'm not panicked about it. You look at it last year. I think you said they're first. Well, they couldn't pass the ball. They threw the ball 19 times against Oklahoma.
Right. Like you don't want to be number 1 in the SEC running the football with this offense.
Yeah, so I think there's an element of that. I think there is an element of them. I think you are right. Like I don't think there's nothing to the stats. I do think Tennessee's not as good as a running team. I think there probably is some clankiness with finding the right running back. But I think it's just as much like Tennessee's not playing wide splits, and their passing offense is vastly superior in part because of that. That's not the only reason, but that's a reason. And I think it's the fallout from that is there's more people, if not necessarily always in the box, at least in the vicinity of the box. And I will say that to the point of the game on Saturday, Mississippi State was constantly loading the box. Like, if to me, it felt like the game plan was we're not going to let them run down our throat like Arizona State did in the second half. Let's make them make plays through the air. So I don't think that's part of it, and I'm not quite panicked about it, but I do think that it's notable, and it's not going to. I don't think it's going to be. I won't say definitively. I don't think it's going to be what it's been the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's something to monitor in terms of like it matters a lot if you're trying to close out games, right? If you're trying to close out some of these and you can't get first down turning the football when you're trying to run out the clock or trying to do that and keep. That's when you're like, okay.
But I will say Tennessee ran the ball against Georgia to set up for a game-winning field goal. On that last drive. Tennessee ran the ball late in this game. Well, I thought they got away from it too much. I thought they got too pass happy in the second and third quarter. Fourth quarter, even, Tennessee really played the clock, I think, really well on that. Their touchdown drive tied a game. I mean, they got the ball back with 7.5 minutes and scored under a 2-minute timeout. And certainly the big plays on that drive were throwing the ball, but they stuck to the run some, and they had, 2 or 3, I think, like 5 or 6 yard runs, and then obviously the touchdown run at the end. So they, to that point, because you're right, that does matter a ton. I think they have been better in those moments than they have been in the macro of all these games.
That's fair. Ethan, the biggest worry for you coming out of the win in Starkville for Tennessee going forward is what?
I feel like there's a lot of small ones, and we've touched over it a little bit with the running backs. I think safety is probably a bit of one of them, but the biggest one has to be special teams, right? I mean, the defensively, Tennessee, I feel like it's kind of being forgotten because of Staley's muffed punt, but fantastic to start the game. I mean, they get a sack first drive, they go 3 and out first drive, they set the tone on the road. Cannot ask for a better start. And then you just give them the ball at the 20-yard line, and they score a touchdown right off that. And it's like, and not to mention, like, this is kind of getting off special teams for a second, but the defense in general had a whole bunch of short yardage situations that they were just forced to deal with. Like, I think it was 26 yards, 25, and like 17 or something like that the offense would just give it to them right there and they'd score. And that's 3 touchdowns, the Mississippi State got of 34 points or whatever they ended up with. But going back to special teams, I think Ryan hit on it a little earlier. Like, I'm not terrified about Max Gilbert, but it's obvious that he's taken a step backward. It's obvious that when pressure hits, I just don't think he's the guy, right? And I'm the one that said against the Georgia, I think he was kind of rattled a little bit by Heupel, and I still believe that. But missed the kick there. He missed the kick against this one. I don't necessarily have confidence going forward if Tennessee was put in a big position to win the game again. That he's going to kick it. I mean, I just got to be honest. The guy looks a little terrified when he's going up for that. I think punting's fine, probably. I think Jackson Ross was fine. And then something else that we haven't even talked about yet is Mississippi State converts that 4th down later in the game. And nobody was even, I mean, he could have rumbled on for 30 more yards there. And, that's just kind of stuff that wasn't happening. I feel like this season especially, it's just so prevalent. And that's going to bite. It's not going to bite against Mississippi State because you have enough firepower. You out talent the Bulldogs. I don't think we out talent Alabama right now. Going on the road, if you do that against Alabama, you're not going to win that football game. It's just simple as that. If you make blunders and you make mistakes the way that Tennessee hurt itself against Mississippi State, it's going to be a problem against Alabama.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing that I remember exactly one Jackson Ross punt to this point. And it was where Brady pinned him at the 1. And it was like, that's the only Jackson Ross memory I have this year. It's like when you know a lot about your punter, the season's probably not going well. Like, it's just like peak Iowa football. It's like, dude, our punter is a problem. And it's just like, hey, if I don't remember Jackson Ross ever during the year, and it's nothing against Jackson Ross, it's just the nature of the position and for Tennessee. But the Max Gilbert thing, though, he has 2 misses since Kentucky. And one is Coach iced him 2 weeks ago. And then this one, it was a terrible snap. Like, I was
actually just about to mention that. I completely forgot to mention that. It was a terrible hold. It was. I mean, it was like this.
The guy can't catch a break when everything's normal. He's fine. He obviously kicked a field goal in this game too, and it's just like, I don't know. I think I'm not panicking. Mad Max. You know how I feel about Mad Max from Memphis. Like, I'm not going anywhere on Mad Max from Memphis. He's fine. The Cookie Man is fine. It's just 2 misses in almost a full calendar year. and it's
But
fine.
football season's 3 months.
Well, neither here nor there, Ryan Schumpert. Neither here nor there. And
Which is actually certainly is not 2 mixes in a calendar year, because when he struggled last year was in October. But
no, well,
yeah,
it's almost,
he could be fine.
I think he's fine. I'm not worried about Max Gilbert. I'm not worried about Jackson Ross. Now, I will say, I mean, to build off what Ethan's saying there, I mean, we'll talk more about Boo Carter at the end, but there's just no and part of what's annoying about this whole conversation dialogue is they're like, well, he muffed one last week and lost it, and then he muffed
He's
one.
muffed 2 in 2 games returning kicks.
What?
Don't act like there's no narrative that's fair there.
Hold on. You have to remember he had the punt return duties for the majority of last year too. It's not like this is brand new territory. He has a full season where I went through PFF and how many punt returns he actually has to this point at Tennessee. I think it's in the 40s. So he has 1 lost, 1.
There's no way it's in the 40s.
I think it's in the 40s.
There's no way that's true, because he wasn't the punt returner all of last season.
He got punt return duties very early on last year. Because they started off with Squirrel and then Dramad.
Because he got it in October, I'm pretty sure. So
either way, 40, 70, 12, whatever the number is.
He also, and it's not as big as an issue, he frequently did not catch the ball last year, would let it bounce and roll. Yeah, I mean, look, all I want from Tennessee's punt returner is to catch the freaking football, run under it and catch it every single time. Run, catch. You can fair catch every single one of them. If there's room to return it, go get 10, 15 yards. I don't care. Now, to your point, Chase, if Braylon Staley's going to be out here not catching the ball, both dropping it and letting it roll 30 yards, then put Boo back there, because at least he can make plays. But the Tennessee's offense is good. This is not 23. This is not last year. They don't have to depend on their punt returner to create offense for them. So, look, I don't know what the situation is. Dwan Morse is the other guy to return punts. He's hurt right now. I would think unless things continue to go really bad, they will not put Jermon McCoy back there when he returns. And if he does, I think it would surely be a go back there and fair catch every single one of them, because we can't trust anybody else. But Tennessee needs to figure it out. Maybe Boo playing more on defense will. I mean, Boo gets back there and he's trying to make the game-winning play every single time he's back there. He's not letting it come to him at all. So, it's an issue. I guess Boo would be back there for me against Arkansas. But not with
it's kind of weird.
Terrible amount of confidence.
Yeah, what am I looking at? I knew I wasn't crazy. So it says 40 for kickoff recoveries, 32 for punt returns last year.
So, okay.
He's at 18 this year.
No, there's no way he's returning.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know what this means. Yeah. Punt return on PFF.
PFF is stock's never been lower than it is right now. Between this stat being wrong and did y'all see the Lance Hurd thing I tweeted out yesterday?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's insanity.
Did you see this, Chase?
I did not. What was it?
Lance Hurd's grade was a 60.2, I want to say.
Yeah.
Against Mississippi State. His pass block grade was a 90, and his run block grade was a 49. And Tennessee, he had 2/3 of his snaps were pass block snaps. So someone explained to me how that evens out to a 60.
Yeah,
he's 30 away from his pass block, which he had more snaps, and he's 11 away from his run block, which he had fewer snaps in. That makes no sense.
Are they just saying he was a complete disaster? I mean, but if he was, then his run block grade would be even lower. Yeah. So it makes no sense.
But it does say, I mean, this checks out. The 6 returns against UTEP, 3 against Georgia, 3 against Vanderbilt, 3 and I guess it's including fair catches. But it says
even then, I don't feel like he's been back there 18 times this year.
Because he didn't return punts, and I think he was back there for 2 of them on Saturday.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how,
but against Georgia. Did he return? Yeah, he returned them against ETSU. He probably had 4 in that game. And he had a handful against UAB, but I wouldn't think 18.
I'm seeing 6 against ETSU, 3 against Georgia, 6 against UAB, 3 against Mississippi State. Uh-oh.
Maybe he got 6 against UAB or ETSU.
Yeah.
I feel like they went away. I mean, they went away from him in the first half against ETSU.
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe. So he was back there. I mean, 18. I mean, that's the point is you got to there's no reason to throw Braylon. He wasn't comfortable back there. I think they just threw Braylon to the wolves. I think that was a crappy thing to do to Braylon Staley on the road. I genuinely think
your ability to blame coaching for players not going out and doing their jobs are remarkable to me.
Well,
catch a punt. You're a punt returner. Catch the punt.
No, he's not the punt returner. He's over here
He
making plays in
returned
the slot.
punts this year. He returned
No.
punts against Syracuse.
No. Motion
We're just
denied.
making the
It's
argument
Boo's
that he
job.
had 40 returns last year.
Well, no, what I'm saying is
No,
Boo
that's
has
Boo.
like
That's Boo.
58.
Okay,
Yeah,
never mind.
yeah, Boo has 58 total. It's like let Boo
yeah.
just do it. Like
Yeah.
it's just very dumb.
Yeah.
Like it's very dumb. Like you're making it harder on yourself, especially after the first one. To send him back out there was insane.
We were
like,
discussing this in the press box.
Yeah.
To me, it felt like we're gonna send him back out there again to say, hey, to try to get his confidence up, to be like, hey, we don't believe in you. But it was like, no matter what happens on the second one, get Boo back out there for the third one. Like,
and it's like
we need Braylon to play well. He had a drop in that first
Didn't
drive.
work.
Maybe his confidence. No, it certainly didn't work.
But also, shout out to Braylon because he made a great play at the end. He fought
did.
through it, like him fighting through. So, like, I'm not going to crush Braylon. He's been awesome this year. He had a rough game, but he should not have been out there. He should not have been returning punts, especially not the second one. The second one was absolutely insane. If you're going to go to Boo for the third one anyway, and just go to Boo, like it's just, I have my thoughts. The
You
Boo
should have
stuff is
seen
driving me
the
mad.
terror in my head when one day even sent anyone back there to return on that punt before the half. It was like 15 seconds left. But it sent Boo back, and I said, okay, if it's Boo, like he is capable of making a play and returning this for a touchdown. So, okay. The ball was 30 yards from him, and he called a fair catch at the 10-yard line, and he still tried to catch the ball, and he caught it on his shoulder. Also looked terrible, looked horrible, inspired no confidence. It's like, dude, get away from it. There's literally nothing good
I'm
that can
confident
happen
in
from you
Boo.
trying.
I will live and die with Boo punt returning. I'll live and die with it.
Well,
The only
they're
gripe
dying
I have,
from it a lot more than they're living from it so far.
hold on,
this
I
year.
have one gripe about Boo on punt return. The last one, like he was trying to make like going back and forth, killing time. Like that one, that was not the time to try and make a play.
No.
But I respect it because he can make plays and can make a lot of guys miss.
I mean, you are right, but I'm not even going to hate on him too much for that because he is capable of busting that 30 yards, after weaving and bobbing around. So
our
it
group
certainly
chat
did
is going
not
to be
end up
electric
well,
when
but I
he
won't
does
hate him.
flip that first one. Maybe it's Arkansas in 2 weeks. Just electric stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the bet's over. I'm going to win the bet.
The bet is over, 100%. But
That was one of the worst one of the worst deals anyone's ever made.
And I still lost a bet with Jack. I owe Jack Littens. I'm going to owe you Littens. It's just me walking into Littens over and over again.
I wish Donald Trump, if Donald Trump post presidency's on Cameo, I'm going to have to get him on Cameo talking about what a bad deal Chase made.
It was not great. Not my best deal. But hey, who knows?
He'll get one though. I am with you. I think he'll.
Will he? Because sometimes he doesn't start the game returning punts. Ryan Schumpert. Sometimes they just go away from him.
You know what he could do to make sure he's back there returning punts is catch the ball.
I would no, but you know what I would like Heupel to actually explain why he didn't return punts the first 2 times. Answer the question directly. Be like, tell us why he was out there for the third one and not the first 2. Like, just tell us.
Pretty self-explanatory, Chase. Braylon Staley muffed the first one, and then he didn't catch the second one, and it rolled 30 yards, and he didn't want to throw his player under the bus. I think
no.
Pretty
I'm saying, why wasn't he returning punts the first time, as he did against Georgia, and as you made that transition weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean, he muffed 2 punts since then. I would think that would be the answer.
And he's also returned 40 and never muffed and only muffed and lost 1. He's lost 1 punt total, I think. To fumble.
I don't care about the lost punt stat. You put the ball on the ground, you're risking losing it.
Okay. I mean, you didn't do it with Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson fumbled on the first drive all the time last year. And you kept riding with him. He'd sit out a series and you went right back to him.
If we're going to compare the trust in the program between Boo Carter, who no-showed for a month in the summer, and the SEC Offensive Player of the Year, who was one of the best leaders on the team, we're just making straw man arguments here.
It's probably true. But I can still be mad that I think it's over. Yeah. It's just hurting the team. I mean, let's just do the Boo thing real quick, Ryan, because I hope they do the 2 weeks here. They need to decide what is the plan with Boo Carter, because this 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You saw the PFF grade this week. Boo is gradually playing more snaps. The last 2 weeks, he's played 35 snaps on average for Tennessee. Made some good plays, hit the crap out of a guy to knock incompletion in this game, which was great. But the punt return stuff, still just absolutely insane stuff from the staff and how to treat this. But also, like, you can't do this half in, half out stuff. It serves nobody. Like, it doesn't help Boo. It doesn't help Tennessee. Like, I just don't understand what we're doing. Like, he was your lone true freshman starter a year ago.
Which he didn't start the entire season. Let's not act like he started the whole season and played all the snaps.
He took over for Christian in game 3, game 4, and then he never gave up the job. I'm saying he was the only
They split snaps basically all season. Jeez.
He was still the only true freshman they had enough trust in to be a starter. Like, he was it. No other true freshman starter last year.
Also because their starter got hurt in fall camp for...
Right, but then he still eventually beat out Christian Harrison and did well enough. And we watched the games. Like, Boo Carter was a good player for Tennessee on defense last year. Boo Carter was a good punt returner. And I just feel like Boo Carter needs confidence. Like, he needs like that at this point in the year. You're already in the middle point of the year. Just roll with Boo or move on. Be like, hey, you haven't redshirted yet. Hey, we're shutting you down. Like, it's time to move on. Like,
what? That's just Chase. Why? What? How does that benefit Tennessee? How does that benefit Tennessee?
Because then you don't have the questions anymore. Then you don't have
questions. They gotta calm myself down. This is such nonsense. They rotate at nearly every position on defense. Why are they not allowed to rotate at star?
Because it's not even just that. It's just when they put him in, they wait for a while to put Boo Carter in. He should be playing
earlier.
On
the second drive on Saturday.
Yeah, but still, he should be playing more. Like, it's just one of those deals where you either play him a lot and have him return every punt, or just move on.
The move on makes no sense, Chase. What does that do good for Tennessee? Move on. He's going to leave after the season. I don't want that to
happen. I just can't do this every week. I can't do the
Dude,
mystery
what are you talking about? You saying this with the punt returner, I get. I can see where you're coming from. I don't completely agree with it, but I see where you're coming from. You're just, what are you, play him every snap or move on defense? What are you talking about?
Or figure out, they talk about cross training all the time, right? Like, Jalen McMurray is a really good player. Boo Carter is a really good player. Tennessee safeties have really struggled this year. Move Jalen McMurray to safety and move Boo to star. Like, do something else there.
Yeah, I certainly, anything that makes me have to watch Idris Farouk play less football, who I think is going to be a good player in time. Anything that makes me watch less of him or Andre Turrentine right now, I'm not opposed to. I don't think McMurray's really ever worked at safety. But yeah.
Can you move Boo to safety? Are we sure Boo can't just figure out safety?
I think, from last week, I believe, not this past episode, but 2 weeks ago, the Rucked Up Insider Lowdown, Chris Lowe was talking about how Boo there hasn't been a lot of trust in Boo understanding a lot of the defensive concepts and play calls to this point, and feeling like he was getting better and is going to be better by the end of the season. With that in mind, I can't imagine they're going to throw Boo out there to learn everything to do at safety. If it's going to happen, it's probably McMurray.
I don't know. Jermod being back will help a lot of this. Jermod being...
Will it help what you're talking about?
Oh, no, I'll move on. I'll just be like, we have Colton Hood and Jermod McCoy. Like, then it's just like, Boo, you're the full-time punt returner. Now, the one thing that will continue to drive me into the Joker is the punt return nonsense. Like, the audacity to not throw Boo out early on and then to not throw him out again on the second. Just absolute. It just felt like an affront to me personally. It felt personal.
He was
on
coming
Saturday.
after you specifically, Chase.
Yeah, they knew about the Litton's bet. It just all feels I feel attacked, Ethan Stone.
You're going to play 35 snaps because Chase Thomas really wants you to play 66.
Yes. That's what it feels like.
Thing I will add to, because you're right, I don't necessarily agree with you on the punt returner, but I completely get your argument. Jalen McMurray was Boo was the second highest graded defensive player, and Jalen McMurray was third. Like, basically the similar.
Yeah, Jalen's a great player.
So
I wish we could find a way to have
you can't.
Well, no, my whole thing is that's why I'm like, I wish we could find a way to put one of Jalen McMurray and Boo Carter at one of the safety spots, because they are much better together than the Tennessee's two safeties. Like, Boo Carter and Jalen McMurray are better than Andre Turrentine and Idris Farouk. But they can't play safety.
You mentioned it too with Jermod coming back. I mean, there's just going to be a logjam. Like, it feels like if you have to make that decision between Boo and Jalen McMurray, and both of them are playing, especially across the past 2 games, Boo has played some of the best football I feel like of his time at Tennessee. I feel like you don't want to kill that momentum, because when it comes back and, Jermod probably takes, I guess, Ty Redmond's spot, but Redmond's playing well enough too that I feel like you don't want to just take him out when he's got this momentum either. So the safety position is just, it makes me nervous. It makes me very nervous moving forward.
Chase, to your point, I would love to hear that Jalen McMurray is fast tracking him at safety during the open.
Yeah, use the 2 weeks here to figure that out, right?
Yeah, I mean,
you move Christian Charles all over the place. Like, Christian Charles played star, safety, corner. Like, he played everything at Tennessee.
But I don't think not much of that was in season necessarily.
Maybe.
I don't know. It could have been, but I don't necessarily.
I think that's my bigger
way.
frustration is that we can't move one of these guys to safety. And part of it is like Idris is just young. He's a redshirt freshman. And he's being asked to play 80 snaps. And he's just not ready for it. Like, I think, like you said, I'm pro Idris Farouk long term. But the plan was not Idris Farouk. The plan was Jacoby Thomas. And Jacoby Thomas left in the spring portal. So you're kind of like, I wonder what this all looks like if Jacoby's back there with Andre Turntime. But
and you watch, not that I've been sitting down watching every second of every Miami game this year, but the little bit what I have watched, I've watched a good bit of 2 other games. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, Jacoby's been good.
He looks like a guy that you're like, I wish Tennessee would have paid him what he wanted.
Like we that's one you just, you should have. Because again, like Idris, I think will be good in time and he'll benefit from this.
100%.
I mean, you just still have to talk about it. Like the safety play is not good right now. Like it's just not.
Yeah, it's not. I might have texted it in the group and I tweeted a much more tamed down version of it. I think if it's 3rd and 8+ and Tim Banks runs zone defense and Tennessee gives up the first down, they should take away $100,000 from his yearly salary every time that happens. Man, I mean, we'll say 10,000. We'll say 10,000. They're good. Like a lot of their big 3rd down stops late in the games when they ran, man. They're good, and man, even the safeties are, it's not like they're great, but they're holding it. They're holding on, and that's only going to become more dramatic when Jermon McCoy gets back. That you need to be running man. They're just so much better in man coverage than they are in zone.
Well, and think about it. Like that's the crazy part too. Is like they're going to be so good with Jermon and Colton. Like Colton's an upgrade, like over Ricky. Like even going next year, like Colton's a better player. So you just look at it like you have the best cornerback tandem in the SEC. If Jermon's even 85% of what he was a year ago.
Yeah, no doubt.
That unlocks a lot for Tennessee.
That was a take I had after the game. I think I said it on our RTI podcast. Tennessee, I think, they're kind of the opposite of what you want from a baseball defense. They're very good on the corners. They're good at corner. They're really good at edge rusher.
Yeah.
I think they're okay at defensive tackle. I think they're okay at linebacker. Aaron Carter had an awesome game, and I think they're bad at safety. But all the questions we had about them at edge, they've answered. I'd love for Caleb Herring to be a little bit better in run defense, but he is great coming off the edge in pass rushing situations. Josh Josephs is elite. Tyree West is elite. Jordan Ross is a good player. He's the more well-rounded version of Caleb Herring, where people probably won't talk about him as much because he won't get as many snaps, but has been much better against the run. So those guys are great. And certainly Colton Hood's been awesome. And we know Jermon McCoy, when healthy, plays at an All-American level.
I also love that Caleb Herring, his 4 sacks this season, both in SEC play. 2 sacks.
Do they have him as 4 on PFF?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think ESPN only has him on 3 with 3.
Mm.
But yeah,
by the way, he's making plays in conference games.
Yeah, and again, like there are some plays where he's out there and the teams are running it down Tennessee's throat, and it's just like, my goodness, he is struggling to set an edge. But you get it in pass rush situations, man. He's got that quick burst, and he's really, really good off the edge.
Ryan, who is hot and who is not right now for Tennessee coming out of this game? It could be coaches, position rooms, players. Who's hot and who's not right now for the Vols?
Yeah, I'll go hot because I feel like we've kind of been overly negative.
People are not going to like the podcast for the first part. We're going to get some comments on there's going to be some pushback.
Yeah, I mean, I would go back to Tennessee won the game. Just in general, I wrote about today, the Pittsburgh game in 22 was the only other game under Josh Heupel that's been like that, where Tennessee has been a road favorite and not played their best and found a way to win. And I think that matters a lot. And I wrote about today, there's a ton of similarities in those games too. But yeah, I think, Josh Josephs, and we said this after Georgia, he's taken every step that we wondered if he could take. He's better as a pass rusher. He was awesome in run defense last year. He is again this year. Tyree West's my favorite video of him talking at Ryan Sylvia during the Vol walk. We making money today. He's out there making money. Again, same thing, like Caleb Herring in big SEC games, he's making plays. And I'll say the receivers too. It was not a great game for Staley, but I still have a ton of confidence in Braylon Staley. Chris Brazzell is so consistent, is making tons of plays. And people are going to rightfully kill Mike for the drop. That's a ball you can't drop. I think as long as Mike Matthews is playing receivers, you're going to want him to be playing receiver. You're probably going to want him to be a little bit more consistent catching the football. But he had an awesome game. I thought it was the best game of his career. He made some big plays and big moments. that screen pass that he took 40 yards or something like that was,
Yeah.
I mean, that was a Jalen Wright level high step. I mean, Chase, you've been on it with the way he can make guys miss. So I'm still super high in the receiver room. And then I'll let y'all go, and I got to circle back to another point that is negative again. So
Okay, we'll stay hot here, Ethan, for you.
yeah.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I had to mute because my cat is absolutely melting down, and I didn't want to have just meows.
Khaleesi's actually moving around too, which is kind of funny. And I wonder if they're giving off the same energy here in the rooms. They just like they're getting angsty at the same time. I don't know. But...
Maybe that's it. I have no idea. But I just keep going on the edge rushers on defensive line. I mean, I feel like that won Tennessee the game, right? Like they had 11 tackles for a loss, 10 of them by different players, if you count like a half tackle for loss. I mean, Tyree West had the best game of his Tennessee career. He was absolutely wrecking stuff. Joshua Joseph's probably top 3. He was fantastic as well. And I feel like Mississippi State's offensive line, like they ran the ball very well. Fluff Bothwell did the first 3 quarters of the game. And then right when it mattered, like at the end, that's when Tennessee's defensive line especially just took over this game. I mean, just completely took over this game. And it's not that, I mean, like it's like the stat I said earlier, the Tennessee's defense was given short fields a decent amount this game. I feel like people are going to look at the 34 points that Mississippi State put up, and it's like, I really don't think that is a fair outlook of how Tennessee's defense played this game. I think there were their struggles. I think running the ball, like I just said, for the first 3 quarters, Mississippi State kind of killed Tennessee. But the fourth quarter, it was just fantastic, especially from those three guys I just said. And Ryan touched on it a little bit earlier. Arian Carter had a fantastic game, 17 tackles, led all players in the SEC with 17 tackles. So I think that level of domination, that's obviously massive, and especially on the road. It's like Ryan said, Tennessee hasn't been in this position before and come out on top. So getting an ugly win is fantastic, especially when you have players playing like that at that high level.
Yeah. And then I would say on the hot, I mean, it's kind of wild that Tennessee is number 1 in the country in sacks at 20. Like they're number 1. And
how many sacks did they even have last year?
I think they had 29 total, and they're at 20 now.
20 already.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're going to blow past that. I think the receiver, like you said, I mean, Brazel should have that was a terrible, egregious callback. And then you had Mike, who obviously dropped one. But Mike, the thing that he's a competitor. Like Mike and these guys, like whether that's Staley, whether it's Mike, whether it's Brazel, they're very mentally strong this year, especially. Where like they're not phased. Like Staley had a rough game. Like his worst game is a Vol. Not even close. Like he'll never have a game like that ever again. But he didn't let it phase him. Like he fighting for those extra yards were huge for Tennessee on his big reception. Like he didn't have the game I'm sure he wanted to, but Staley, like that was great. Like it showed his mental toughness to like not let that. We've seen Tennessee receivers in the past where the drops start. You could tell they are not able to like leave that last drop behind them. You know what I mean? Like Mike had a bad drop, but Mike also had a great game after that. Like Mike kept making plays. And I think that's one of the best parts about this. And I also would say David Sanders looks like a player. Like David Sanders, I mean, they had him pull on that first one. He wanted contact. Like David Sanders is not afraid of the moment. Like I am not worried about David Sanders settling in as a plug and play true freshman right tackle. I think he is confident and up for the challenge. Just a delight, man. He's smiling and he's just, I don't know. I think that was a pleasant surprise to get him in when Perry was dinged up a little bit. But yeah, I'm very curious how they handle this. I assume it's going to be Sham who is getting the odd end of the stick here in 2 weeks, but Sanders looks the part. You see him out there and all that. I mean, he had the bad false start, but that's just jitters on the road and everything else.
They weren't ringing responsibly either.
Yeah. And also I would say Edwin Spillman was really good. And he's out snapping Jeremiah Thielander, which I think will continue to go more and more. Like he's not going to start over Jeremiah this year, but the main thing that matters, and I think Eric Kane made this point on VolQuest this week, was like it matters in the snaps, right? And it's kind of like last year, where it's like it matters more if Jordan Gainey's closing, not if he's starting, and like what his minutes is. And I think that's where you're at with Edwin. Is Edwin and Arion Carter need to get the most amount of snaps together at linebacker. And when you do, good things happen. And I think that was the best version of it. So, yeah, I think there's a lot hot in this game for Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree. And Ethan, you made a great point about the run defense being good late. And I would say the same thing. It was good early in the game, too. Like, when Tennessee's good defensive linemen are out there, their top defensive linemen are out there, the run defense is good. It looks good. It's when they go lower in the depth chart that you see some struggles. So, yeah, and then to that last point, Chase, I mean, game on the line, Edwin Spillman's the one out there. That's what I want to see. I mean, that was one of my, I don't even know if it's bold predictions, but predictions on our preseason pod was like, I don't think Spillman's ever going to start the season, but by the end of the year, he'll be out snapping T-Lander. Yeah. It's not like a stock down or a cold thing, just a take I have. Miles Kitselman's got to stop being the safety blanket for Joey Aguilar. Has to. And those interceptions were not all Kitselman's fault. He kind of got grabbed on one. The throws weren't great by Joey. Like I think there were blame to go around on those plays. And Miles Kitselman's a good player. I think he's going to play in the NFL for probably 5+ years. But he's not an elite receiving tight end. And Chris Brazel's having an awesome year. Is 6'5", has the catch radius of the Monstars when the guy dunks from half court. Throwing the ball in big moments. He's the guy you need to trust. He is the big moment guy that Tennessee should be trusting. He should be the safety blanket for Joey Aguilar, not Miles Kitselman.
Needs way more Chris Brazel. I mean, that fourth down play, like people have talked
Perfect
about
example of it.
Fantastic. I mean, that ball, like Joey was fantastic on that last drive, right? He was 1 for 6 or whatever it was to start, like in the second half. He was not good to start the second half. 6 for 6 on that last drive. Should have been 5 for 6 because that last one was behind him. He threw it behind Brazel. And on 4th and 4, makes fantastic. I mean, the ball's moving around. There's defenders coming at him, about to wreck him. And he catches the football. That's exactly to Ryan's point. Like the guy is catching everything that Joey throws him. And it's obvious they have that connection already too. It's just massive. And also, I wanted to mention this a little earlier. Chase, you say that Staley and Brazel and everyone's playing with confidence. I agree with you. I think they're taking the personality of their quarterback because that's exactly what I just said with that stat. He struggles to start the fourth quarter. They struggle at the start of the third quarter. But when you got to go get the touchdown, like Heupel hands him the ball. He says, "Go do it. Go give us a touchdown," and he does because Joey just like he just brushes stuff off. It does not matter what happens to him the drive before. I mean, like short of him breaking a bone, I have supreme confidence that he can go out there and get done whatever needs to get done because that's just the level of confidence he's shown so far, and it's rubbing off on the rest of the team. Word to your point earlier.
And it's when he talks about it. It's like he took ownership for the Kitselman stuff, and it's just you can tell. He's just a natural leader. You can tell why he's good at this, why guys ride for him. Like Joey Aguilar is an easy guy to root for and to rally around. Like you can see all of it, but you also can see the gunslinger stuff where like you can see why he led FBS in interceptions a year ago, but it's been cleaned up a lot. Like you could see it, but you also kind of needed that juice. Like Tennessee needed that guy, that fearless juice down the field with these talented weapons. Cause I mean, Joey, like he's paying so many long-term dividends for Mike, for Brazel, for Braylon that like, I mean, just those are like they'll look back and be like, man, we were lucky to have Joey that one year because Joey, like we'll see what happens at quarterback years from now at Tennessee, but like this year in particular, Mike got started, Brazel broke out. Like yes, those guys deserve a lot of credit individually, but you have a quarterback for the first time in a long time since 22 who's accurately taking those deep shots down the field, who's attacking, and who has just a different kind of like. It's just different. Like you're back to the 2022 looks and feel with this passing game. And a lot of that goes to Aguilar. And yes, the receivers are making plays when they're getting the opportunity, but like he's been gigantic. Like that is huge for these guys' development. Like Braylon Staley and Mike Matthews are breakout players because Joey Aguilar is giving them opportunities to go make plays.
He has like, I don't think he's a super accurate thrower of football.
No.
Not that he's like sporadic, but
he gets cold. Like he's someone who to me, he feels he gets cold.
The thing I will say that is vastly different than the last two guys Tennessee had, his pocket presence, his internal clock. Like,
yeah,
the play that really stands out to me was the throw to Mike on that last drive. I mean, he's about to get killed, is kind of trying to evade rushers and just fire. You know, it wasn't like it was a dart necessarily. I don't want to say that, but he threw the ball and gave his receiver a chance to make a play. And it's like there's just not a world where either of Tennessee's last two quarterbacks stays in there and has the confidence to make that throw. And he does that. He's kind of awkward sometimes in the pocket. You know, that I don't think it's necessarily fundamental tape that you're teaching that anybody would be teaching based on, but just the moxie and the confidence and the ability to constantly give his receivers a chance. Because that's what I would say. Not all these throws are super accurate. Almost all of them give his receiver a chance to make a play.
That's fair. Ethan, most impressive stat coming out of this game for UT was what?
Yeah, it's the one I mentioned earlier. It's 11 tackles for loss, which leads the SEC for this week, and it's just the amount of dudes doing it. Everyone's getting in the backfield, and there's a lot of good tacklers, especially on this team. I think there's a lot of bad tacklers on this team as well. I'm kind of looking at both the safeties when I say that, but Colton Hood is not one of them. I think that's one of the things that's especially impressive about him. That play in the backfield, I don't remember who it was on the end around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
He was going for 30 yards at least. Maybe all the way. I mean, he had the edge. If Colton doesn't get him there, I think he probably beats the linebackers that are coming, going towards the boundary. Just a fantastic play, underrated play. And, he had two tackles for loss on that game. Tyree West, like I said earlier, absolute monster. We've already talked about Joshua Josephs. The guy was a monster. Caleb Herring, he was a monster. It's just, I feel like there's completely different tiers of this Tennessee defense. I feel like there's some guys that, they need help. They probably don't need to be in there right now, but they have to be because that's just the circumstance. That's just how it goes right now. And then you have, I mean, seriously, some first round talent in Josephs and Colton Hood. And when Jermod McCoy gets back, Jermod McCoy. So I feel like it's very top heavy in that regard. And that it shows with the explosive plays on defense, right? I'm not exactly sure what the stat is, but Tennessee has to have the most defensive touchdowns in the SEC this season, right? I mean, it's got to be close at least.
I mean,
They
logically,
got
yeah,
three or four.
games.
Yeah, so
3.
it's that that explosiveness. Like I wouldn't even call it a bend don't break, because if you look at the numbers, like Tennessee's defense just really has not been that great. If you're a stat watcher, they're bottom tier in pass defense. They're, I think, halfway down, like 8th or 9th in the SEC in rush defense. If you're not watching the games, you don't think that this Tennessee defense has any juice whatsoever to it. But that explosiveness, that's what's kept them going, and that's what won the game against Mississippi State.
The one thing you don't have to watch Tennessee games where you just look at the stats and it's actually like that tells a real story is the third down stuff. Like Tennessee still sucks on 3rd and 4th down. Like it's still, you're holding your breath. Where I'm very nervous at 3rd. I will be nervous on 3rd and 7, 3rd and 5 for Tennessee's defense all year long potentially. Like they're not. I mean, they're not as bad as Georgia though. You look at the Georgia stats. Like Georgia, you see Alabama's 3rd down conversion rate against Georgia last on Saturday. They were like 13 of 18 against Georgia. So it's like
on the other side, they were 2 of 8. Georgia was something like that. I mean, they completely dominated 3rd down.
Georgia, no sacks. Like Georgia's pass rush is non-existent. So I mean, everyone, even at the top of the food chain, is having some problems. Like it's not perfect, but getting Jermod back and David Hobbs back, especially, and also shout out to Jackson Moy for the amount of snaps he gave Tennessee on Saturday. Dude's a warrior, man. Like shout out to Jackson Moy. Like he's a solid player in that rotation. He's not like elite at one thing like Omar Norman Lott was a year ago, but he's a good player. And he's someone who really, I mean, Bryson Eason also, like that guy just
Don Bailey.
warrior.
Shout out Don Bailey.
Bailey too. Like
same vein.
They just give him so many snaps and they're just solid, man. So they're great leaders, great warriors. So shout out to them too. And like you said, Tyree West, breakout. Like, he's a guy, he's in my top 3 Vol list who I'd never want to get hit by. Like if it might kill me. Like if I was doing like a running list of like, if I like Chase, would you get tackled a blindside sack from Tyree West for $1,000? Would you do it? And be like, I don't think so. I don't think that's ending well for me. I think the medical bills are going to be a little bit higher than that.
I'm so curious. Who are the other 2?
Oh, the other 2. Oh, Edwin Spillman is in that.
Like maybe past 10 years. I don't know.
Oh, past 10?
Yeah, past 10 years.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I assumed you were saying when you. I don't know.
I was just thinking about this team right now.
Okay, this team. Then this team.
Let's
make it easy.
Is up there somewhere.
Jeremy Banks.
Simmons.
More than 10 years. I certainly wouldn't want Eric Berry hitting me.
I was gonna say Eric is over 10, so we were avoiding that. Yeah, I have to think about that a little bit more. But those are the ones that jump out.
I thought I had, I don't know, in the last day or two. You know how every year when Tennessee plays Georgia, there's the Georgia hype video will always until the end of time. I don't even remember who the corner or safety was that just annihilated Brian Maurer. That was, Tennessee doesn't play Mississippi State as much, but the Tyree West play will be that play. I mean, because he just annihilated Blake Shapen.
Speaking of Brian Maurer, did y'all see this stat with Brian Maurer?
No.
I'm always a Brian Maurer guy. I love Brian Maurer.
The very first Chase Thomas podcast I was on, me and Chase bonded over being Brian Maurer believers. And it's been 6 years of bad takes for the two of us.
We've been doing this for a long time. Ryan Schumpert. But yes, that is funny. Like we that was the first thing we had in common was the Brian Maurer belief. That's really funny. But no, he and Joey Aguilar are in the same recruiting class, and Brian Maurer's been gone for a really long time. Brian Maurer and Joey Aguilar are in the same recruiting class.
That's crazy.
That doesn't compute. That's insane. Seriously?
Yeah.
What was it? 2019? 18?
I think it was 2018, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 2018.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's just one of those things you hear and you're like, wow, okay. Guys are playing college football for a long time. Ryan, what's the latest as folks are hearing this on a Tuesday? Bo Ogden going to make his decision, 4-star recruit out of Texas. His dad's the GM of Sean Miller's Texas Longhorns, but his dad also played for Rick Barnes. So you never know. Guys can surprise you in terms of, does he want to carve his own path or does he want to stay home, which both understandable. But so what are we going to look at here with Ogden? And then who do we keep an eye on for Tennessee recruiting over the next month or so? Because Tennessee does not have anybody in this class right now, but I imagine that's going to change with all the big OVs coming up here over the next month or two.
Yeah, well, I mean, Tuesday's just a big decision day. Ogden announcing his commitment. I haven't been told by anyone, definitively that it's Texas, but that's my assumption. That's the belief out there. If he was going to chart his own path, if he was going to go away from Texas, it just doesn't feel to me like that announcement would come 2 days after his official visit to Texas. That seems like if he was going to make that really hard decision to not play for the program his dad works at, it feels like he would need a couple weeks or a week to debrief and really make that decision. So who knows? I haven't heard anything definitive there. And then the other decision on Tuesday is Ralph Scott, who's I think actually.
Oh, is he Ogden Tuesday too?
He is Tuesday too. Okay. Ogden is the number 37 player in the country, according to the 24/7 Sports Composite rankings. Ralph Scott is the number 38 player in the country. So one spot behind them, 6'7" wing, same guy. He visited, same position. He visited Tennessee the week before Ogden, so for the Georgia football game. And as we record this, I feel good about Tennessee's chances. We'll see what ends up happening on Tuesday. But that's been a big-time battle. Houston, Purdue, Texas A&M. It feels like Houston's been Tennessee's top competition. And if it ends up not being the Vols, I think it'll be Houston. But, I feel good about where Tennessee's at there. And that would be, like you said, a nice start. And then it kind of dies down a little bit. I think Manny Green is visiting Arkansas weekend, and he's another wing guy. So we'll see if that visit still happens. If Tennessee does get Scott, and then really after that, it's wait until that Duke weekend, which is just a massive one. I think it's 5 official visitors for Tennessee, 3 of them 5-star recruits. Christian Collins is like a top 10 player. Darren Rippey is right outside the top 10. Bryson Howard's Josh Howard's son is a 5-star wing, and then Josiah Jervis is a 4-star shooting guard, but Tennessee really, really likes him. He's probably their top shooting guard target in the class. And then Cody Peck's a little bit lower on the board as a power forward. So he's one I don't think there's a huge priority for Tennessee. But as of right now, he's slated to be there that weekend. So we'll see what happens with Green here in a few weeks. And then it should be quiet on the official visit front until the end of the month.
So if they take Scott, who's out? Who, with numbers wise and on the list, does that take them out of anybody else that they're also pushing?
Yeah, I don't know if it really completely eliminates them, but I just think you naturally wonder about the guys at the same position. You worry about, like I said a minute ago, Manny Green, who's a lower rated 4-star a wing in the class. And I would wonder about Bryson Howard. Not that they wouldn't still take Bryson Howard, because I think they would. He's a 5-star player. But those are kind of the things you just point to and wonder about. Yeah. You wonder about how the finances get moved around. So those would be the 2 names out there right now. Obviously, Mayfield was the guy they were targeting. The Jacob Weber kid who went to Purdue was another one they were targeting. So
Mayfield ended up at Oklahoma, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Which Tennessee wasn't. Again, I think he was a take. They would have taken him if he wanted, but that wasn't a guy that they were prioritizing and pushing for a ton.
I love Ralph. Ralph is a name you don't hear very often anymore. Ralph.
You're right. It's not 7'3" wingspan.
Ooh,
and
that all checks out. That's a Barnes staple.
Yeah.
Rick Link, you look at his profile and you're like, yeah, this all feels Rick Barnes.
And I think I told you all this when I talked to him at the airport that day, a few weeks ago after his visit. His hand just swallowed mine. Maybe twice. His hand might have been twice the size of mine.
Isn't it funny though? As you get older, that's the weird part. You're gonna get older on the beat here, and you're like, oh wait, hold on. You're just like you're gigantic and you're like
Yeah.
8 years younger than me, and you're just very different.
He's also something you don't hear a whole lot. He's from Bermuda.
Yeah.
So he goes to IMG in Florida. He's been in America since his sophomore year of high school. I think 1 year at a different school in Florida now, and going into his second at IMG. So not quite the college basketball pipeline you usually think of Bermuda to.
I do in Tennessee.
top
You got
40 recruit.
Masamba and Berg here. Like we're
Yeah, but I mean, they play a lot of basketball in France. They play a
True.
lot of basketball in Israel. I don't even know how people live in Bermuda, but that's tiny island nation.
Yeah.
I don't know any basketball players from Bermuda off the top of my head. So.
I haven't really dug into it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's fair. I haven't done deep dives into Bermuda basketballers.
But I'm all about it, man. Ralph Scott, he looks the part, and I would be that'd be awesome. Because I think all Tennessee fans have been focused on Ogden, and it's like maybe pay attention a little bit more to Ralph Scott here, and I think that would be still a pretty good day. Final one on recruiting. I mean, is Sadler going to make up his decision anytime soon? You didn't mention him. Is that fading away from Tennessee?
The vibe I've gotten, and this isn't no one's explicitly told me this, but the vibe I've gotten is that Tennessee just likes Rippey a good bit more, and it feels like they're gonna wait Rippey out.
This feels like there was a kid, Chance Mallory, from last cycle. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, a little bit. I tend to agree with that in the sense that Tennessee made a lot of sense, but they were never pushing super hard for him. I mean, Chance Mallory ended up going back to Virginia when they didn't even have a coach. I don't think they named their head coach when he committed.
Yeah. And it was just looming, you know what I mean? Like, he was just always looming, where it's like they like him, undersized guy, like he makes sense, but he was just like, it's kind of weird that he's just not in the boat. You know, he's just out there looming.
Yes. Yeah, I think at one point during his recruitment, one of Tennessee's assistants told me, he's like, I think it was when he came back and visited in like February. He's like, this is his third time visiting us, and people don't really do that in basketball. He's like, he can get in the boat, if he wants. Like, it's kind of crap or get off the pot time here.
Yeah.
Like, we want you. We're the situation is what it is. Like, it doesn't. There never felt like a ton of confidence because of the fact that it was like, us a ton. You've been here a ton. If you wanted to be here, you would have committed to us by this point.
Hey, it's like dating. It's like dating. A certain amount of time where you're like, hey, when you know.
Basketball recruiting, dating.
100%. Hey, I knew I was going to marry my wife pretty early on. Like, you just know. When you meet the right person, you just know. Ethan, did you know early?
Yeah, that's a great take. You know pretty soon. It's like, yeah, I could spend the rest of my life with this person, or nah, I'm probably good. Like, if
it's 3 years in and you're still not sure, probably not.
It makes itself apparent fairly quickly.
Yeah, 100%. Final thing we'll get out of here. Ethan, do you think it was disrespectful for Tennessee to stay at 15 in the AP poll? Because I saw that and I was like, first thought, how? Because I think that was an impressive win still on the road, but some of the teams in front of them, Tennessee should have moved up. I don't think they should be a top 5 team, but I think Tennessee is, to this point, have proven they're much better than a 15th overall team.
I would say, like, I mean, in my rankings, I think Tennessee is probably better than number 15 in the country. I think LSU is probably not as good as people think they are. It's still wait and see a little bit with Iowa State, but ultimately, like, does 15 make me like offended or anything like that? No, not by any means. I mean, it's the AP poll for one. They get things wrong all the time, and I think where their resume is at, they have a close overtime loss to Georgia, and they have a overtime win over a Mississippi State team that Tennessee probably should have beat by a couple touchdowns. So they've stayed at 15 for the past 3 weeks at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's pretty fair. After the game, I remember even thinking, it's like, I think this is just what Tennessee is right now. I think they are probably the 15th best team in the country. I think they're around there. I couldn't really say anything's wrong with that. And like looking at the teams ahead of them, it's like, yeah, I understand why they're where they're at. Iowa State doesn't have a loss. LSU, despite the fact that they just have not looked very good on offense and they don't have a run game whatsoever, their defense is great. And they have, the win over Clemson and Florida, which is better than probably both Tennessee's wins, even if those two teams I think are a little overrated. So it's just, we'll figure out more about these teams as the season goes along, right? We got however much it is, 8 weeks of football left, and a lot of things are going to change. We thought Alabama was dead 4 weeks ago. Now
not me. I got so much.
Not Crimson Tide Thomas.
Okay, we're not doing this part of it, but I do feel vindicated. I just know everyone's been very quiet about my Alabama and Ty Simpson preseason talk. everyone's kind of going away after I got a lot of heat.
Roll Tide Thomas he's back and he's locked and loaded and
okay.
He's
wrote about
Dixieland Delight and Rammer Jammer and
I wrote about it this week. Alabama is they're confounding. They took a vacation in week 1. I think they were at the beach in Florida State because it's just a completely different team level, like effort wise, especially on defense. I feel like it is the big part of it. I think Simpson looks like not much better, I feel like, than he did, but these past 3 weeks, he's just been so accurate. That's been the difference with him. He was like, 54, 56% against Florida State. He's been just almost perfect in that department since then. I don't think he's lighting the world on fire or anything like that. I don't think he's like one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the SEC, but he just he completes footballs and they have great and good enough receivers that, if they just keep doing that, that's all they need from him. They don't need Ty Simpson to be Bryce Young. And yeah, they're looking good. I mean, Alabama, my opinion of them I was high on them too, Chase. I think we said it on the show. We both thought they were going to be the SEC champions preseason. And then it just completely plummeted because I saw their effort on defense. And now I'm kind of back to that thinking, yeah, this team can win the SEC. I mean, look at the rest of their schedule and look at everybody else. And Ole Miss is probably going to Ole Miss. Georgia has looked worse than they usually have. It's going to be a fun race. I could talk about this for the next 15 minutes, but a lot to come. And a long answer, no, I don't have any offense to Tennessee being 15 because, like I said, there's just more football to be played.
Yeah, it's just they're better than LSU's resume right now because the Clemson win is just not impressive anymore. And where Florida's at, just not impressive. How Tennessee played Georgia and then beating Mississippi State on the road. They should be ahead of LSU. They should be ahead of Texas, who has played nobody to this point and have lost their only big game. And then Penn State, who has also played nobody and lost their only big game. You have to drop them because they're still getting benefit of the doubt of who we thought they were in the preseason. It doesn't mean they, to your point, Ethan, they can't get it back because there's still some big games in front of them. But Tennessee has proven more on the field that they are a better football team than Texas, Penn State, and a couple others right now. That doesn't mean it's going to stay the case for the next 2 months, 3 months of football. But right now, they should be higher than them, I think, in the AP poll. I think they're getting kind of screwed by this just preseason nonsense of how we see these teams.
Yeah, and I mean, I won't go on about it for the next 5 minutes, but I feel like everybody in the AP poll has a completely different philosophy about how they go about it. Because I think how you're saying it is probably true, but with the Penn State thing you're saying, for example, do we really truly think that Penn State is a sub-15 team in the country? Probably not. They just, with that logic, Oregon's the number 2 team in the country right now, and they played them right to the end. And obviously they lost the football game, and that's what they do against AP top 10 opponents. But if we put Penn State against LSU, for example, right now, I think Penn State whips them. I don't think it's close. And that's what makes it so difficult because people just there's people that are doing it by the results they see on the field. There's people that are doing it by a neutral site thing. And there's people that are doing a little mix of both. And it's just who cares? I cared five years ago. At this point, it's just just play the games. I think it's good for getting a baseline of where these teams are. I think Penn State's a top 15 team. Put them at 7, whatever. Who cares? But you're not wrong. They haven't played anybody. They beat FIU, Villanova, and I don't even know who the other one is. I haven't even heard of them. And that's just how it is. Texas is in the same boat. LSU hasn't beaten anybody, but that's where they are. It's just how it is.
Ryan Schumpert.
Not a lot of respect for Kevin Willard there. What he's doing at that Villanova program.
That's true.
Brian Finner, actually. Shout out to my guy, Brian Finner.
Are they good
Villanova
in the
legend,
FCS?
Falcons legend.
I don't know.
They traditionally are good in the FCS. I have no clue about this specific season. I kind of tuned out for a bit of that conversation because I simply cannot bring myself caring about the AP poll.
Yeah, I don't. It's hard to care. It's just a bunch of guys.
I just don't think it's just they're not. You gotta. I don't know why I let myself get annoyed by it, but I was annoyed by it today. I added it to the show sheet. I saw it. I'm like, Tennessee should be higher than 15. This is very silly. So there's just not a case for some of these teams to be ahead of them, other than just preseason belief. But what they've shown on the field, Tennessee has shown more. And with the same losses, or less than that. So we shall see. Ryan Schumpert, what can the good folks check out from you and the team over at RockyTopInsider.com this week?
Yeah, it's that's the fun in these multiple bye weeks in a season. It kind of gives us a chance to reset and look at what Tennessee's done for the first month of the season. So I'll have a couple reflective pieces. Should have a stock report later this week. Going to try to dive into some stuff on Joey Aguilar. And then, basketball front, anything that comes up recruiting wise, obviously, like we were saying, today, as you're listening, is a big day. So we'll have coverage on all of that stuff. And then hoping to get over and watch Tennessee baseball some this week, too. I was out of town when they got started last Thursday. But Sylvia was over there and had good coverage from it. And hopefully I'll get my first look at the team this week as well. And we'll have some content on them.
Can I say I saw them doing the Morgan Wallen Foundation video today over there at Gibbs, and they showed the players, and I was like, this is the first time since I've been here that I have no idea who like 2/3 of the guys like in the video shot are. Like obviously Manny stands out and Reese and Arvidsson. I'm like looking over and I'm like scrolling back, Ariel too, but I'm like scrolling back. I'm like, I have no idea who that is. I have no idea who that is. Like there's so many new faces and so many guys I just don't recognize that it's going to take me a while to get used to so many new faces on Tennessee baseball because I paused it. And I was like, I have no idea who over half of these guys are anymore. This is jarring. It's going to take me some time here.
That's how it feels in the fall for me. The vast majority of years. They also don't wear numbers in the fall. Just brutal. And now with the construction, like we have to sit out in the outfield. So it's kind of one thing you sit down there near the field, like you kind of hear them saying the guys' names. You're seeing them a little bit closer. Sitting out there in the outfield, it's tough.
Yeah. Ethan Stone, what about you and the team over at SaturdayDownSouth.com as well this week?
Yeah, I have Stars and Stats, my weekly thing. Obviously went over some of those stats in this one that came out today. Both projections will be out tomorrow. And then October 3rd, Friday, that's a month away from college basketball season. So I'll have a bit of a SEC preview, I guess, sort of thing coming out. It's going to have a lot of words. I'm going to start working on the majority of that probably tomorrow. And then, just getting into the rest of the season. Got some big ones, Texas, Florida this week. Obviously, Vanderbilt, Alabama is going to be a fun one. And so, our team will have full coverage of that. And then beyond as Tennessee prepares for Arkansas.
I love it. Ethan Stone, Ryan Schumpert, always a pleasure. And I'll talk to you again next week.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.